Hey YouTube, thanks for joining me. This is The Art of Prepping. This is a Wednesday. This is going to be a military tips or Military Wednesday. So we have today's episode that'll be coming out of the FM 21-76 Department of the Army Field Manual on survival. This is a pretty popular type of survival handbook. I have many more other different types, but it's amazing though how you find the same information in a lot of them. And that's done on purpose, of course. Now, this one is, of course, from October 1970, but a lot of the same information is in the newer ones that I have. So I just kind of use this because it's in the physical form versus the electronic form. We're going to look at today the shelter category. There's just a small read here, just to ponder over. It says shelter, and this is of course on page 211. But every one of these books, every edition, they're done differently, so it may not mean anything. It may not actually be on page 211 if you have this book. So shelter, selecting a site. Try to pick a campsite on a knob or a high spot of a ground in an open place well back from swamps. You'll be bothered less by mosquitoes, the ground will be drier, and there will be more chance for a breeze. Now, even though it says this, high spots, this has been somewhat revised. It should be in the mid-ground. Yes, you don't want to be in the bottom of a valley. It gets very much more cool down there, especially at night, and you have increased chances for flooding. But you don't also want to be on the top of a mountaintop either, where there's more wind, and it definitely could have a lot more exposure to the elements. So definitely, pretty much the sweet spot in most areas is this mid-ground. But in this situation, though, if there's swamps, then it's probably going to be low ground anyways, so you probably would want to go to the highest spot, or at least a higher spot. The next thing it says, don't build under large trees with dead limbs. They may fall. Don't place your shelter under a coconut tree. I mean, it's pretty common sense, but it's true. Can you imagine just waking up in the morning or not waking up in the morning because you got knocked out by a coconut? It says the next one, in mountainous jungles, the nights are cold. Get out of the wind. So yeah, I mean, in jungles that have high elevation, definitely, it'll definitely cool down for sure. Next one is avoid dry riverbeds. They can be flooded in a few hours, sometimes by rain so distant from you that you are not aware that any rain has fallen. So that's definitely a precaution. Even if you are camping next to a river or a bank area, and it looks like that the water is very low, and you feel like that you have plenty of space between you and the water line, maybe 10, 20, even 30 feet. It's always best to move a little bit further than what you think, because it can surprise you in the middle of the night when the whole floor of your tent is covered and soaked with water. And the next thing is that if camping during the day and moving at night, the shady borders of rivers supply the best sites. And the next thing it says types of shelter. The type of shelter you build depends on the time available for preparing it and whether it is to serve as a permanent or semi-permanent structure. Some jungle shelters are, and of course this is the military speaking, so they might have parachutes. For us it could be more like nylon types of tarp systems or tents, but it says simple parachute shelters made by draping a parachute over a rope or vine stretched between two trees. Kind of like we do like a lean-to type of deal. We just put a piece of paracord or bank line between two trees and drape our or connect our tarp over that and bring the lower two ends down. We could put rocks there or stake it down. The next thing it says thatch shelter made by covering an A-type framework with a good thickness of palm or other wood leaves, pieces of bark or mats of grass. Slant the thatch single fashion from the bottom upward. This type of shelter is considered ideal since it can be made completely waterproof. Of course, this is going to be a little bit more permanent. I mean, if you're going to stay there for a while. It says use the broad leaves of young banana trees. So that would be a good way to waterproof it as like a shingles. It says build a hot fire on a flat stone or a platform of small stones. When the stones are well heated, place the leaf on them and allow it to turn dark and glossy. At this stage, the leaf is more water repellent and durable and can be used as a shingle. After you finish the shelter, it says dig a small drainage ditch just outside its lane and lending downhill. It will keep the floor dry. So you have a little irrigation, which is pretty smart. That's pretty cool. And the last thing is beds. Don't sleep on the ground. Make yourself a bed of bamboo or small branches covered with palm leaves. And we'll just turn the page here and finish. A parachute hammock may serve the purpose as well. You can make a crude cover from banana trees or tree branches or ferns. Even the bark from a dead tree is better than nothing. And here we go. Here's some illustrations of what they just said. So this concludes Military Wednesday. Hey, thanks for joining us here, and we hope you come back soon. And I'm going to do another video and talking about a few things that I like about small fixed blades. You guys take care.